so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time for the Rundown with Rob Sanders.
Well, we're waiting.
Welcome into the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us here today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk some college baseball. We're going to talk about South Carolina and how they went to Hoover. And I was telling my buddy Kelly Nash yesterday that, normally you go 2 and barbecue in Hoover, but Gamecocks go one and done. I guess you get a hot dog for that. I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll talk about Clemson, how they're not going to the baseball tournament for basically the second time since like 1986 or something like that. First time they're going to have a non-winning season since 1957. We'll get all into that. But first, a huge football story today. If you look up on my blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com, it's all there for you. But there's a report from the Atlanta Journal-Constitutional that Darion Kendrick is going to head to play football for the University of Georgia. Of course, they'll get some help in the secondary, the Bulldogs there. They've already gotten another transfer guy coming in for them. But it looks like, according to the report, he'll compete for playing time against starting cornerbacks Eric Stokes and Tyson Campbell. And, that's who they lost. The Bulldogs have lost Eric Stokes and Tyson Campbell. So he's going to have time. He'll be able to get in there and possibly get himself some playing time. I said constitutional, didn't I? What did I say there? I'm sorry. Still dealing with this head cold. Shout out to Alan for messing me up over there. Anyway, the Rock Hill native was the first team All-ACC selection last season, even though he missed some games because of disciplinary matters. He was dismissed from the team before spring drills. He was charged with unlawful carrying of a handgun on March 12th after officers found him asleep in the vehicle with a gun in his lap right in front of his girlfriend's apartment building up there in Rock Hill. The weapon charge is a misdemeanor, but they're saying that a lot of this charge may be dismissed. He was also issued a citation after they found a small amount of marijuana in his possession. Look, I've always been a guy that Darion Kendrick is a hell of a player. And just to say, I know there are a lot of Clemson fans that think, okay, we're not going to miss this guy. But Kendrick he's an all ACC player. And in addition to that, not only is he leaving your team, he's going to be playing against you in the first game of the season if everything in this report is true. So a huge get there for the Georgia Bulldogs, not just for the Clemson game, but for overall. You've got a guy that's projected to be a first-round pick in some spots. I don't know how that's going to work out. I think his off-the-field stuff will knock him down a little bit, but as far as on the field, you can't really question Kendrick's ability to play. Realistic one on in the chat room over there says Kendrick will provide depth but won't start. I don't know enough about the Georgia secondary. I know that they lost some guys, but there's going to be a set of Georgia fans, and I'm not saying this is you there, Mr. Realistic One, but there's going to be a set of Georgia fans that are going to say Kendrick's going to be moving over to big boy ball in the SEC, and that is stupid. Okay? Kendrick will play. He's not going to go somewhere where he's not going to play. I truly believe that. If he wanted to go somewhere, if he didn't want to play, he would have just possibly went in the draft. I think he wants to finish out his college career. Now, the question is, how big of a role will he play for Georgia? And how much time will he get? I don't know if he'll start the first game of the season, but I think by the middle of the season, he's going to be a guy that can play. He is a legit athlete that's going to make any team better. Some of the comments online. Alan says he's starting day one. Jordan says, I doubt that. I think he'll start if he has time to acclimate. UGA doesn't have a lot of depth at corner. Georgia did get another transfer to come in. So they're going to have like basically the transfer secondary. Not that that's bad, because that's kind of how you have to do it now. Zach with a comment online, UGA rotates so many defensive players that he will see the field plenty. Does nothing but help us. And you're right. Getting Kendrick is a big deal. But I tell you what, for the Clemson folks that support him for a while, man, I say this because you need to have this mentality now. This is the way things are going to be. With the transfer portal and people can move around whenever they want and all of that, this is how things are going to be. We kind of had a taste of this with Tavian Feaster, who went from, playing in the playoffs, playing in the national championship game, all of that, to, hey, I'm going to go to South Carolina and play. And came down here and had him and the Gamecocks had another running back. They both topped over 700 yards apiece. But this is a big get for Georgia if everything holds true with this. And I tell you what, it's just it really does show that college football it's getting to a point now where it's almost like a free agency type thing. Hey, you didn't work out here, you can go work out somewhere else. We'll take your calls on this afternoon at 803-978-1832. Do you think Kendrick will play? We'll talk about that. Do you think that how big of a difference will he make for Georgia? I mean, he's going to know how the defense goes and things like that. He may be able to help with signs. I don't know. We'll see. But wow, what a monumental thing there. Hey, going into the spring, it was thought that Kendrick would be there. Of course, he was dismissed right before spring drills. And then all of a sudden, yeah, he's going to be playing for Georgia next year, or Georgia in September. What a shot across the bow that is. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Kendrick's numbers from last year: first team All ACC, 6 pass breakups, an interception, and a 66-yard fumble return. He was a second team All ACC player the year before, and he was playing wide receiver, so the guy could play on both sides of the ball. I doubt he'll do that at Georgia. He'll probably just be a defensive back. That would be my guess. But it's, when I looked at this stuff earlier, I was just shocked. I kind of thought that there may be a chance he would go to Georgia. But I just thought that, he's not going to do that. Not going to do that. And once again, and I've said on the show before, players should be able to go wherever they want to go. But you see this and you're like, man, what a kick to the gut that is. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. We will see where Darion Kendrick ends up. Tyler Crowder, the host of Kicking It with Crowder, joins us here in a little bit. We'll talk with him about that shot across the bow. We'll talk about, I use shot across the bow like it's a pirate movie. I like pirate movies. We'll also talk about some of the stuff with Julio Jones and how that's a mess, and how things from that call the other day, that's not gonna go out well for them. Man, and then you've got Clemson baseball. We're going to get into that as well, but I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the stuff with Darion Kendrick at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832, as the transfer portal bites the Clemson football team. As you know, they were planning for him not to be there, obviously, but now you're going to have to suit up to play against him. Interesting stuff there. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. If you'd like to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Appreciate everyone joining us today, as I'm still in Facebook jail for saying something silly. So you got to watch on the YouTube channel today at Carolina Jackpot. Go over there and check that out if you want to watch the stream of the show. And of course, we'll talk about that. I've got to get into the baseball stuff with Clemson. Man, Clemson plays tonight against Georgia Tech. Yesterday, they got, it was like batting practice for both teams as Louisville picks up the win. Then that pretty much eliminated Clemson from any shot of even making the tournament. Now, because of the ACC and their stupid pool play, which I hope that the folks that are up there at the ACC actually hear this. Maybe someone hasn't told them yet, but pool play is disgusting. Clemson has to play a game tonight that means absolutely nothing. Yeah, let's get jacked up for this Georgia Tech game. We're going to play the number 2 seed overall, and what are we playing for? You think anyone cares about that game? Nope. Not one single bit. And you know what? I said this earlier. It's the first time since, 1957 that Clemson has a losing season in baseball. That's something that this team has to carry with them forever. It's only the second time since, in that stretch, they've only missed the baseball tournament once, which was 1986. We're talking like Back to the Future. You can go watch Back to the Future in the theaters. Go watch Beverly Hills Cop. That's how long ago this was. So the Clemson baseball team was this crummy. Now, I'm not saying that Coach Monty Lee should have his head up there on that, but, man, something needs to be at least talked about. You're in, what's he in, his 7th, 8th year, something like that? I can't remember. I've got to look that up. But the reality is that all of that, it just doesn't look good up there. And with the guys that are leaving, I know they played a lot of freshmen this year, but is there hope for next year? Does Monty Lee have to go the junior college route now and get some guys to come in to play? That may end up being what happens there. But not the season you wanted for Clemson baseball. Not at all. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Interested in getting your comments on Darion Kendrick. Supposedly he's going to start he's going to transfer to Georgia. I did not think that would happen, to be completely honest with you. Did not think that would happen. We'll have to see how that works out. But Kendrick reportedly is going to head to Georgia. The weapons charged against him is probably going to be settled. Either way, it's not, if you're a Clemson fan that supported Kendrick, of course, he's from up there in the Rock Hill area, and he's going to an SEC school that's closer to you than Columbia is. Dennis online says the Georgia fans are drooling from their mouth now. Dabo should block that transfer. Well, he can't. That's the other thing. He just can't. Now, I think this may end up being something where Dabo Swinney sees where, not that he's trying to be tit for tat, but Dabo Swinney's got to get into the realm of, hey, we're going to have to deal with some transfers. We're going to have to get some guys in here from the transfer portal because there's a lot of talent out there. You're cutting yourself short. You're just saying, and Swinney talked about this, about, I've got guys that are already on the team. Yeah, that's great. But if you have the opportunity to make your team better, you can't just hold it against someone because they decided to go somewhere else first. The idea of a transfer, especially at quarterback right now, because if Uiagalelei gets injured, the Clemson season goes down the toilet. There's projections on the, I think it's the Pro Football Focus has projected that this Clemson defense will be one of their best that they've had under their defensive coordinator there, Brent Venables. You could possibly waste that defense if you have a quarterback that is not up to snuff as far as being able to play at a championship level. So, yeah, that's out there too. Anyway, we'll take calls on that at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Alan says that Dennis is the one that's drooling. Thank you for that, Alan. A little back and forth over there in the chat room. Big transfer supposedly in the mix there, as Darion Kendrick is supposedly heading to the University of Georgia. And obviously, if everything goes through, he'll be playing against his former team in the first game of the season. I honestly couldn't figure that out. I think I said on the show it would be funny if that happened, not thinking that it actually would. Quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some baseball stuff. And Tyler Crowder joined us at 3:30 today here on The Rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are awesome over there, man. Let me grab something. I'll be right back. All right, did everybody think he was going to Georgia? I think I might have said on the show that he did. I do so much radio and stuff that I don't remember some of the stuff that I say. But never thought that would happen. I really didn't. Great pickup for them, man. Great pickup. Well, welcome back to the Rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world in the iHeartRadio app. Big news. Report says that Darion Kendrick is heading from Clemson to Georgia. Talk about a rivalry that's it's already salty. Georgia fans and Clemson fans, they go back and forth with each other a good bit. Now you're going to have this young man who played for Clemson last season is now going to be playing for Georgia in the opener. Craziness when you think about it, just because of the way that college football has changed. That would have never happened before. And now that's something that is definitely happening with the transfer portal. We've got two transfers that makes a lot of sense. Or I'm sorry, that have happened I don't say make a lot of sense, but that have been a big deal this week. TJ Finley going to Auburn, creating a quarterback controversy there. And that's the truth. Bo Nix thought he was going to be the quarterback. Not so much. TJ Finley coming in from LSU, he's probably going to have the opportunity to play a good bit. He thinks he's going to get a chance to play. Darion Kendrick has 1 year to play. Is he going to have the opportunity to get in there and start? That's going to be interesting. Let's head out to the phones. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Hey, Rob. I was listening to you about the transfer portal. How are coaches going to navigate this thing going forward? I mean, how are you going to know how many recruits that you have, spots that you have available?
Yeah, because guys can come and go as they please.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see how you're going to be able to go out and sign 25 kids and you don't know who's going to stay and who's going to leave. And I think these sports magazines now are going to have to come out with like two magazines, one in the winter for the transfers and then one in the summer for the kids coming in.
Well, I think it's going to be everything's going to be online. The idea of a print is not going to happen anymore. You can just go back and edit the online version quickly.
And I saw the thing with the Finley kid to Auburn. Do you really think Bo Nix, after being started for 2 years, is he really going to be out?
I think that the thing with Bo Nix is that he was the starter for 2 years, and that when they bring somebody in, you don't know this coaching staff from anything. I mean, these guys were all up coaching in the mountains last year, the Mountain West, but you don't know who they are. You have a brand new coach, and if one of the first things he does in your quarterback room is bring in a guy that was good enough that LSU had him and Alabama wanted him, that to me says this coaching staff doesn't have any confidence in you. And please get away from what Harsin said about, we need to compete. Yeah, I get that. But it just says to me, we want you to compete because we don't think you're good enough. That's kind of the vibe that I get from it. And would not surprise me if he doesn't make the here in the coming weeks, if it's on the wall, hey, you're not going to be able to start, he's probably going to move on somewhere else.
Bo Nix would move on. Yeah.
I think so, because why would you at this point, you have 2 years in in SEC play. You've shown that Bo Nix has shown that I think it's more of an issue with the 12 inches between his ears than it is the physical part of it. The guy can throw the ball all over the place and is a monumental athlete. There's nothing to do with that. It's just he needs a really good quarterback coach to settle him down and to get rid of those happy feet and all of that. And I think he could be a good quarterback, but bringing this other guy in, that's just going to hurt his confidence, in my opinion.
Do you think that the NCAA is going to have to do something about all these kids that are entering into the transfer portal and maybe come back and redesign it somehow? Or is the cat out of the bag on it?
Well, I think that you've already let it happen. So, I mean, I don't know what they can possibly do. I mean, they're the NCAA, they're corrupt. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But, when they see stuff and it's happening like this, I mean, you look at Alabama. They got the big linebacker from Tennessee. The young man,
the best player of Tennessee. Yeah.
I mean, I think he was the best player that Tennessee had. It's hurting a lot of teams. And I think the idea is that the transfer portal was what was going to bring Nick Saban down, because you could theoretically come up with essentially super teams to go and try to tackle the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Ohio States of the world. And Nick Saban's like, okay, he's still going to recruit at a high level, and he's going to he sees that this young man who was a great player at Tennessee, come on down to Alabama. He can recruit him there as well, and then
Absolutely.
it ends up hurting them more. So I think the NCAA's got to look at it, but I don't know what they can do. I really don't.
All right. Thanks, man.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for calling the program. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Reports from the Atlanta Journal-Constitutional says that Darion Kendrick is most likely heading to Georgia, going from Clemson to Georgia. So there you go with that. Some of the notes from over online. Colby says, I think Bo Nix starts, but later on in the season, he won't. You know, there is Harson's a guy that is an offensive type coach. And it's not like he's one of the Will Muschamps of the world. So if he's not getting what he wants at quarterback, he's going to try everything. Why not try your first year? Tom says UGA bringing some extra firepower with Kendrick added, if you know what I'm saying. Tom making me say dumb things on the radio. And Alan says Bo Nix should go to Tennessee. Yes. Interesting. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm still stunned by Kendrick going to Georgia. I really am. So we'll have to see how that works. But yeah, reports are Kendrick is going to go to Georgia from Clemson. And to think he was putting on a Clemson uniform, 6 months ago? I mean, I think that's fair to say. Now he's going to be suiting up for the biggest game on Clemson's schedule this coming season. Crazy how college football works. All right, Tyler Crowder, host of Kicking It with Crowder, is going to join us here in a little bit. We'll talk to him about this and how it's going to affect the Georgia program. He's right in the heart of Georgia, in between Auburn and Georgia. So he kind of got a good feeling on both programs. Colby says, this help UGA versus Clemson week 1 from a playbook standpoint. You know, I think he can tell them, hey, this is what some of the tendencies that they have. Now, I think Coach Venables knows that, and he may change things up. But it definitely makes a difference. All right. Let me get Tyler on the phone here. Tom might be right about that. I'm not in the camp that Skalski's as good as everybody says that he is. He reminds me of like Ben Boulware without an edge. That's how I feel about Skalski. At least Boulware was, probably on steroids, and Boulware always seemed like that. Like he always had an attitude problem,
This is Rob Parker. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by NHTSA.
The Hurricanes head back on the road after taking a 3-2 lead in their series last night. Got a chance to advance in Nashville tomorrow night. Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey says he may change jersey numbers next year, considering going from number 22 to the number 5 he wore in college. And PGA champ Phil Mickelson will headline a major TV golf match. He teams up with Tom Brady.
I did see that, Brandon. I did see that, Brandon. Yeah.
Excuse for not buckling up. Law enforcement are writing tickets, so why take the risk? Do the smart thing and start buckling up every trip, day or night. Click it or ticket. A message brought to you by NHTSA.
You guys are awesome joining me over there. I appreciate it. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. Appreciate my buddy Tyler Crowder joining us here, host of Kicking It with Crowder. Tyler, what's up, my friend?
What's up, Rob? How you doing today, man?
I appreciate you joining us here today, and I'm going to kick you in the face about your Atlanta Falcons, even though they're kicking you in the face. It's just beat down Tyler about the Falcons today. I pick at you, but we've had a couple of big transfer portal moves that I wanted to talk with you about. Of course, your show is right there in the heart of Georgia. You're like right in between. When you go to Kroger on Sundays, you probably see a bunch of Auburn hats and a bunch of Georgia hats. Is that a fair assessment?
Publix, but yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to Kroger. I'm going to Publix. But yeah, you get the gist is there. You're right in the middle of the Georgia fan base and that Auburn fan base. But let's talk about Auburn first. They get TJ Finley, the transfer in from LSU, to be a quarterback. Do you think that are you in the same boat that I am, that's Brian Harsin maybe trying to light a fire under Bo Nix, or maybe he's just not in the Bo Nix camp?
Yeah, Bo Nix, he kind of struggled last year as a sophomore, and it was very evident. Against South Carolina last year. The James Bourne and that defense kind of really took control of that football game. And at the end of the day, I think TJ Finley's going to go in there. They also have a very talented freshman from Houston, Demetrius Davis. So you have a three-headed race there. So TJ Finley is going to fit right in. Now, here's the thing. TJ Finley is a three-star quarterback. He's a very talented guy, but he was obviously the odd man out at LSU, kind of behind their two quarterbacks they have there, and then also a true freshman coming in for LSU as well. So, he's still going to have to compete if he wants to win the starting job. Now, I would probably say Bo Nix has a great chance to win the starting quarterback job at the beginning of the season, but wouldn't be shocked if Demetrius Davis or TJ Finley got some playing time at some point.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how that goes, but thanks, Coach Harsin. You've made a quarterback controversy in your first year at the program. Congratulations, sir, on that. All right, so let's move on to Clemson, and they lose an all-ACC player in defensive back Darion Kendrick. And, I think we joked about it on the show. He's going to end up at Georgia, and sure as hell he ends up at Georgia. That's the report from the Atlanta Journal-Constitutional. What a pickup for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and the Bulldogs have already added the safety from West Virginia, Tyke Smith, as well. So they get both of those transfers in there, and it's a team who lost Eric Stokes, Tyson Campbell. They lost a lot of players in that defensive backfield, so they're just going to the portal. Darion Kendrick was a first-team All-ACC guy. Did get kicked off the football team. It now comes to UGA. UGA will will take anybody's scraps. That's for sure. So
Wow.
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I like UGA, I really do, but they're not scared to take a chance on a player who maybe had other issues at another school. So that's my theory on that.
What's your Twitter handle, sir?
At Kick It With Crow.
Yeah, send all hate tweets to at Kicking It With Crow. I did not say that on the program here, that Georgia takes your scraps. My goodness, Tyler. Bringing the heat this afternoon here on the rundown.
Hey, I mean, I'm just saying they'll take they'll take another team's, if the guy can't work out for their team, he'll work out for the University of Georgia. So that's just Kirby Smart's theory. He's been using this portal a lot. And also, a lot of people get UGA scraps. The guy who couldn't work at UGA, a lot of teams get their guys too. So it works both ways.
I have to correct myself. I said the Constitutional again. It's the Constitution, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, because I'm not very bright today. Still trying to get over this cold that I've got, Tyler. Ever since I got my COVID shot, I've had a vicious cold, and I'm blaming the COVID shots.
I was about to ask you about the coughing. I was about to ask if you were okay.
I'm all right. But no, it's crazy though. I get my COVID shot and then I get sick. It's amazing. I have to talk to you about the Atlanta Falcons for a moment. The big thing with Shannon Sharp calling Julio Jones live on the air on Undisputed, and Julio Jones, and probably the most savage thing that I've ever heard, basically told Atlanta, "I'm through with you and screw you, Dallas. I'm not playing for you either." That had to, as a Falcons apologist, that had to suck.
Yeah, I mean, Julio Jones is not only just, he's one of my favorite NFL players of all time. So not even just the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I am still an Atlanta Falcons fan. I still will always be. But at the end of the day, I think that maybe the new regime possibly could have maybe Julio taking a pay cut or something like that, maybe in March. And where this is all stemming from, because it just doesn't line up to me with how, you get Arthur Smith and then get Terry Fontenot in there. And then, you just have a sour relationship with the star player, the star wide receiver, who you look at Matt Ryan's QBR with Julio Jones and you look at his QBR without Julio Jones, and it drops significantly without Julio Jones on the football field. So, it's tough. At the end of the day, I don't want Julio Jones to be traded. I'm hearing rumblings of possibly a second to third round pick for Julio Jones. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what? Like, what second or third round pick is going to come in and give you the type of production that Julio Jones is?
Julio Jones is 33 years old, and he also put out there that basically, hey, I'm not going back there. So people know they have no leverage in Atlanta. They've got to get something for him. Tom Online says Julio to the Patriots for N'Keal Harry, and they will stop making 28-3 jokes. That's his final offer. Tom's got jokes today.
I'd say no.
No.
No. I definitely say no.
Get rid of the 28-3 jokes. That might be worth it.
If we're gonna go with the Patriots, give me J.C. Jackson, the cornerback who had 8 interceptions last year, or give me Stephon Gilmore, the former South Carolina great who is in the last year of his contract, and he's probably going to leave New England anyway. So, hey, go ahead and give me him and maybe a third-round pick, and we can call it a day, and I won't be as mad as I would be losing Julio Jones. But at the end of the day, it sucks that the new regime could not make it work. Arthur Blank, I don't know if he's got anything to do with this as well, but it's just it's unfortunate. And, yes, I did get a little upset about it at first, but at the end of the day, I'm not mad at Julio Jones. He's done everything he can and more for this football team to win. Had possibly one of the greatest catches in Atlanta Falcons history to set up the game winner, or basically to steal the Super Bowl and put them in field goal territory. And we all know what happened after that. But I'm still a big Julio Jones fan. I will root for him wherever he goes.
Well, we'll see how that works out. But I'm in the camp of he's in the waning years of his career. I mean, he's not 29. Yeah. If he were 29, and I would be like, oh, this is crazy.
Well, he's 32. I mean, he's 32 years. He's 32. And, at the end of the day, he still has some good football left. I definitely, and here's the thing. You should have traded him if you really were going to trade him, you should have traded him at the draft when his stock was the highest, because I just find it amazing that the Falcons are not going to be able to get a first-round pick for him. I know that's what they're asking for. So, hey, Julio Jones is under contract. I mean, at the end of the day, if the Falcons want to play, they want to play that game with him, they could. But I don't see that.
That's not going to get anywhere. Come on now. That's not.
I'm just saying it could happen.
Come on now.
Teams do it.
Teams do it.
I don't think it will.
No,
I don't think it will. But
I think they're going to try to get the absolute best offer right before training camp and send him on his way. That way they get something for it. So we'll see how that works out.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a trade post June 1st. I wouldn't be surprised to see a trade very soon.
All right, so I got to ask you this final question. Tyler Crowder, host of Kicking It with Crowder, as we've made fun of his Falcons here today, so sorry about that. But the Turner Sports announced today that we're going to have another installment of the match. Now, obviously, last year it was what, Tyler? It was who was it? It was Tiger Woods,
it was
and
Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Mickelson and Woods.
Yeah, that was the team last year. But now it's going to be Brady and Mickelson will face Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau. So, are you buying into that? Are you gonna watch this match golf? I think last year everybody loved it because we were in the middle of a pandemic and we would have watched people together playing jacks. But I don't know if this is going to take off or not. We'll see.
They should have done DeChambeau versus Koepka. Brooks Koepka. That would have been awesome. And I know their rivalry is really, that video that got put out the other day was hilarious. But I'll probably watch it. But Aaron Rodgers, I want to know more where he's going to be trying to play football next year, or if he's going to go back to your Packers, Rob. So that's really what I'm more interested in.
Depressing. He's out there playing golf. We don't know if we're going to have a starting quarterback up in Green Bay, but we'll see. All right, Tyler, tell folks where they can find your show, man.
Yeah, guys, you can pretty much find it anywhere. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio app. Also, guys, I'll be going live today, 6:30 before the Hawks-Knicks game. Go Hawks! Can't wait for the game tonight against the New York Knickerbockers.
We'll see how that goes. By the way, Trey Young, I approve of you talking crap to everyone. I like it.
Let's go.
I like it. All right, Tyler, thanks for joining the show, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Rob.
There you go. Tyler Crowder, host of Kicking It with Crowder, talking a little bit with us about Kendrick to UGA, the quarterback controversy that they've made at Auburn, and all kinds of good stuff there. Appreciate Tyler joining us. Final segment of the show coming up in just a moment. This is The Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I do remember that. Alan, I'm going to have to send Alan a t-shirt or something, man, for getting me correct on the Constitution thing. I'm getting some t-shirts printed up for the Rob and Kale show. I might have to send you one. So. Oh, my goodness. We do have a new Rob and Kale show tonight. We'll talk more about that. You think Doty can be a good quarterback for the Gamecocks with better coaching? I think Doty is an athlete. I don't know. He's got the physical talent to be an SEC player, but someone said something to me the other day that kind of hit me hard in the face, and I'll share it with you folks here because I can't really say this on the radio, but it was, if Doty were a black quarterback, he would not see the field. They just see him as a guy that is just a mobile quarterback that can't really throw the ball. That's what a couple of my friends told me. And I'm not buying into the racial thing, but that's just the way that they put it. I mean, they're entitled to their opinion. I think that, what was the stat? There's like 2 passes last season that Doty threw that were longer than I think 12 yards, something like that. Now, a lot of that could do with the fact that you got Mike Bobo coaching the team, who is an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. I look back at some of his games because that's what I do in my spare time because I love the game so much. I like to watch old games. If you come to my house, you'll see that. Like, I've got old games on all the time. Got a bunch of them saved in my DVR, and then I've got a bunch of them that friends of mine send to me through different sites and stuff like that. Lots of them are on YouTube, but I'm watching tons of games. And I went on a Mike Bobo kick a while back, and it's like, how the hell does this happen? How does this guy continue to get SEC jobs? I don't know anything. I didn't play college football. I didn't really, in high school, I was in Kentucky. I played a little bit for our team up there, but it was because there weren't that many guys in the school. Okay. So for me to sit here and say that I even played in high school would be far-fetched, to say the least. But I can sit back and watch things, and you watch what he does, and it's like, what are you doing? And sometimes you got to take into account that the certain players may have done things they weren't supposed to do. Yeah, that's fine, but you coach them. You end up you're the guy that's making all this money, and your offenses are terrible. That goes back to Will Muschamp too, because Muschamp's like, this is the guy we got to have. And by the way, Gamecock fans, stop telling me, well, Bobo gave us the SEC's leading rusher. No, that was Kevin Harris and guts. That was Kevin Harris getting yards after contact and having to get IVs at the half because he's carrying the team on his back. That's what that is. That's the heart of Kevin Harris. That had absolutely nothing to do with Mike Bobo. That annoys me when I hear, oh, he gave us the leading rusher in the SEC. Get out of here with that nonsense. Nobody wants to hear that. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today as we get you squared away here. I've got something I'm supposed to read to you about. Oh, the iHeartRadio Music Festival's tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in for that. All over the place with that. And of course, it's Usher, and it's like going to be the first concert post-pandemic where you're actually going to see a live crowd. Pretty cool stuff with what we do here at iHeartRadio. I was talking to some folks online about the whole thing with Mike Bobo and how I thought that was, we look at it now and it's a horrible hire. And I'll share that with some of you here. People say, hey, Bobo brought made Kevin Harris an elite running back. No, Kevin Harris made himself an elite running back. Just stop with that nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's like, you don't have to defend Mike Bobo. He's not here anymore. I've heard that from some folks. Tom says that you've never heard a Bobo apologist from this side of the aisle. You're right about that. Tom's an honest guy. We'll give him that from his comments that he's had on the show here. He's an honest guy. I don't have a problem with that. I wanted to talk a minute about the Gamecock baseball team. They are done in Hoover. And Coach Kingston said that they put a plan together, but the plan just didn't work.
We went with our plan, which I think was a sound plan. We weren't going to move up our weekend rotation early on 2 days rest, and we weren't going to play our position players and have them have setbacks. And so you have to live with the results of your plan.
Maybe Bobo was thinking, or I'm sorry, not Bobo. Maybe Kingston was thinking, you know what? It doesn't matter. And what I mean by that is that if you look at certain regional projections, they've still got the Gamecocks as a host, maybe as a 2 seed, but still as a host. You don't even get your 2 in barbecue in Hoover. Come home and you're still hosting. We'll see how that works out. Kingston also talked a little bit about the regional and the Gamecocks plan and how they're basically waiting on that.
We need to get guys healthy and get back in the weight room and use these 9 days to our advantage and come out really fresh, real healthy, feeling really strong and rejuvenated wherever we play our regional.
Yeah, it could be that the Gamecocks get a regional and they're a 2 seed, which wouldn't be that far-fetched. There's only 20 different spots. We already know that. Will the Gamecocks and the way that they've fallen off, will that knock them out of being a regional host? I say they have a legitimate shot. Now, I know a lot of people are like, why would you say that, Rob? Because they have a good facility. And I think that the ability to have that good facility, especially in the way the pandemic is set up, I think they're going to lean towards more bigger schools that have more funding, et cetera, to host some of these regionals. It's just a feeling that I've got. It's not saying that I think the Gamecocks are worthy as far as what they've done with their record, because they're okay. They're an NCAA tournament team. Let's put that out there. They have the potential that they could be a team that's really good. Okay? If things fall in line correctly. But I don't think that they're like, back in the days of Michael Roth and Jackie Bradley Jr. and teams like that. I don't think they're that good. But they are definitely a team that's worthy of an NCAA tournament bid. And we'll see how that works out for them. Tomorrow on the show, it's the final show of the week for me. I'm taking off on Friday and Monday. Of course, I will be lighting it up on Twitter with all of my crazy thoughts, because if I don't get a day in front of the microphone, I feel silly. So we'll have that going for you tomorrow, the final show of the week. We'll talk a little bit about whatever comes up. It seems like every day it's something brand new, but the latest in the world of sports right here on the Rundown. By the way, Lawton Swan from Clemson Sports Talk is next. He is the czar of Clemson Sports.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Yes. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's at Clemson Sports, as you can check out his program and all the good stuff that Swanee brings to you. And I know Gamecock fans are like, it says Clemson in the marquee. Just listen to the show. There's people in the closet that listen to Clemson Sports Talk. That's just the way that it is. Bulldogs, Yellow Jackets, they all listen to Clemson Sports Talk. Everybody loves the Swan. Except when I see him, I'm going to fight him because I can. Anyway, Lawton Swan, my buddy. Be sure to check him out this afternoon from 4 to 6. Podcast up at 5 o'clock. Blog page is up, foxsportsradio1400.com. I'm Rob Sanders. We'll see you tomorrow. Yes, I think he was a total failure as a head coach. I don't want to hear about your schedule being brutal. You stop with all that nonsense, man. That's ridiculous. Come on, man. Stop leaning on the schedule, Brandon. You're a better fan than that. All right, guys. New Rob and Kale show tonight. See you then.